Shalom, Eliyokim Cohen, Jews News Briefs, June 21st, 2011, the 19th day of Sivan on the Hebrew calendar, live from Jews News World Headquarters. We have a phenomenal show. This is probably going to be our best show yet. I have tons of good articles today. Here's our theme song from David Dome. Man, I love that. Alright, so if anybody has any articles or anything they want to have me discuss on the show, just email me at eliyokim@gmail.com, and please sign up for our Facebook page, facebook.com/JewsNews. Alright, our sponsor today is a great one. It's my rabbi's website from Muncie. It's called Shabbat.com. It's a Shabbat hosting site. If you need any place to go for Shabbat, like if you're in a foreign country or a strange distant city in America, they'll fix you up with a host. And if you want to host people, you can do that too. So this site is so cool that Gaddafi in Libya has signed up to be a Shabbat host. Gaddafi is actually Jewish. So if anybody wants to, tour a bombed out compound in Tripoli, go to Shabbat.com and they will fix you up with someone in the Tripoli area, maybe Gaddafi himself. Alright, so I have grains of sand here. Today's quote is absolutely heartbreaking. Efrat smiled between her tears, but we have pictures and memories of the real thing. Talking about her home in Gush Katif that was destroyed by Jews, by the Israeli government, and they're trying to do the same thing now. And not only that, I have a quote from Prime Minister Netanyahu today that is actually my top story, that is so revolting, you'll think it was Ariel Sharon saying it. So we'll get to that in a minute. But I've, today in Jewish history, let's start with that. Today in 1498, citizens of Nuremberg, Bavaria, which is Germany, our best friends, received permission to expel its Jews from Emperor Maximilian. This is, I could have this show for the next trillion years, and I'll never have an end to, stories like this to discuss. So this happened in Germany. A lot of things happened in Germany, and they say that this all started because the Jews of Worms, Germany, said to the Jews that wanted them to come back to Israel, no, you stay in Big Jerusalem, we'll stay here in Little Jerusalem. And Hashem apparently didn't like that because usually every anti-Semitic thing in this world usually emanates from Germany. Alright, so speaking of that part of the world, here's a quote from Anne Frank for our Jewish quote of the day. What one Christian does is his own responsibility. What one Jew does is thrown back at all Jews. That's an unbelievable quote. We're all connected as Jews, and when one person does something ridiculous in New York, it affects us everywhere. And when someone does something amazing somewhere, it also affects us. We are all united by a bond, being Jews. Alright, the Torah tidbit of the day is a great one. In this week's Parsha, we know that the ground opened up its mouth and swallowed Korach. Why the ground? Why didn't, the sky open up? Korach came to Moshe, with a dispute. And he tried to make it seem like it was all holy, and he was speaking up for the benefit of the people. But we know that Korach was only speaking up for the benefit of himself. So if it was a holy thing, the sky would have opened up. But Rabbi Victor Miller said, since what he did was an earthly thing, that the root of the disagreement was jealousy, that the ground opened up. Because the ground is an earthly thing, and the mouth of the ground swallowed Korach, and that is from Rabbi Victor Miller. Alright, before we do anything, let's do my new segment, Joke of the Day. This is probably the greatest joke of all time, and if anybody out there has a joke, please send it to me, because I want to do one a day. It has to be short. There's a Mexican firefighter that has twin boys. What does he name them? Jose and Hose B! Now you know that's funny. You might not like my show, but you know that joke is funny, and just for that you should watch tomorrow's show. Alright, let's dive into our top story, a nauseating one. Prime Minister Netanyahu gave a speech at some conference, Jewish People Policy Institute, on demographic changes, and he said that it's more important to preserve a solid Jewish majority inside the state of Israel than holding land home to a Palestinian majority. Do you have any idea what that means? This is the person that everyone thinks is so right-wing, that fights for Judea and Samaria, that will never give away land. He said the same exact thing that Sharon said, that we need to separate from the Palestinians. That's exactly what he said. We need to separate from them, meaning another disengagement, another expulsion, another Gush Katif, only on a scale about 10 to 12 times more than that. He said, let's see. The number of Palestinians and Jews between the Jordan River and the sea is irrelevant, and it's more important to preserve a solid Jewish majority inside the state. Inside the state means the borders that we have now, including maybe like a settlement block here or there. Meaning, he's perfectly willing to give away whatever. And he's very powerful right now because, you know, a lot of people are behind him after his stance in America, but this is the true Prime Minister Netanyahu. He's given away areas before. He's frozen building in Judea and Samaria. He's not building anything in the eastern part of Jerusalem. This is very important. This is a devastating quote for the Prime Minister that for some idiotic reason, Jews out there think is like this, you know, King David reincarnated, you know, hero of the Jewish people. I need to know what you have to say about this. There were tons of comments in yesterday's show because I begged people to comment. So please do the same thing. I want to know what you have to say about Ariel Sharon Part 2. Emphasis on the duh. I'm glad I have my cute back here. I haven't used it in a few shows, but this really bothers me because he came back from America riding this wave of support, and now look. This is his true intentions. Separating from the quote-unquote Palestinians unilaterally. That's what he wants. Alright, so yesterday's poll question was, what did you think about Israel penetrating the upper echelons of Hezbollah? So I can only read one quote, we don't have a lot of time. The U.S. under Carter and Clinton destroyed the United States' human intelligence and relied on electronic intelligence. Now that is useless, and without Israel, the United States would have very little intelligence. I thought that was a great quote. Why? Because this sort of ties into my next segment. Ehud Barak says that the Iron Dome, you know, the thing that's protecting us from, you know, short to medium range missiles, is going to be all over Israel soon. They created something else that's for long range missiles called like the Pink Puppy or the Purple Pony or, oh no, it's the Magic Wand. You know, some lame name. But listen to this. The United States, the head of the Pentagon, the same United States that treats Israel like, you know, a bag of poo, has now said that Israel missile defense systems can protect American mini-spaces. Wait a minute! I thought that we're the 51st state. I thought that we're so reliant on America that we couldn't possibly do anything without American aid. Now you want little old Israel's help? Well, if I was Prime Minister, I wouldn't give you anything. Nada. First of all, I'd kick out your embassy. I wouldn't let any of your diplomats come here. And I certainly would protect any of your Middle East bases with something that we've developed. And in more nauseating news about America, Hussein Obama gave a speech to potential Jewish donors. And by the way, if any Jew out there votes for Hussein Obama again, you are an absolute desecration and a disgrace to our people. I have zero respect for you. I think you're an absolute blight on your people. And you are a completely stupid idiot that after 3 years of his treatment of Israel, that you care so little about your own Jewish people, you're so self-hating that you would vote for him again. So he gave the usual speech. One inviolable principle will be that the United States and Israel will be our allies and friends, and our bond is unbreakable. How many more times are you going to fall for that nonsense from this pathetic piece of trash? American, Jewish, democratic, ignorant fools. I need to get to my happy time story. But before I do, let's play a little Jew or no Jew. Megan Fox, the skanky actress that some people think is Jewish, is she Jewish? No, thank God. She is not Jewish. And not only that, she just got fired from the Transformers movie for calling a Jew Hitler. My 5th grade teacher called me Hitler. He said that I had the power to like get the class all riled up and follow me and all these things. So he called me Hitler. I'm a Jew. My mom didn't take too kindly to that. So she complained and he ended up getting fired, thankfully. Alright, so let's get to our happy time segment. Actually, no, I don't want to do that right now. I want to get to my the world is going down the toilet segment. Get this. A quadriplegic passenger who flew on an airline a few days before was removed from the plane coming back to where he was going by the pilot. The pilot said that it wasn't safe for this quadriplegic to fly, even though he flew days before. They humiliated him on the plane. They embarrassed him on the plane. They brought his mother to like tears. Why would you do that to a quadriplegic? This world is just a nightmare. Other than Jewish morality, this world would be, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah Part 2. So let's get to some happy news, because this show has been completely nothing but mediocre news so far. Alright, so I'd like to hammer on Prime Minister Netanyahu because he's an easy target, but he did something good. He's now mulling. This might mean that it might come to nothing like virtually every other thing that he mulls. He's mulling worsening quote-unquote Palestinian prisoner conditions. Why? Because they live like kings in Israeli jails. They live on the streets in any of these Muslim areas, slums, you know, nothing. They're treated like garbage. They think, wait a minute, all I have to do is kill a Jew and I get to go to Israeli jails? Will I have phone privileges and money and canteens and I can play soccer and volleyball? Wait a minute. Slums, volleyball. Slums, volleyball. What do you think they're going to choose? So, in order to get Shalit out, Prime Minister Netanyahu is thinking about worsening the conditions in jails so that they'll go from maybe 5-star living to 3-star living, which in and of itself is still pathetic. We treat our prisoners, our Muslim prisoners, better than they're treated in any country on earth. Alright, so the US is sending a flotilla ship. You're thinking, oh, it's probably going to have so much aid and medicine and food for these starving Gazans. No! The Audacity of Hope organizers say that we'll carry no goods. That their goal is just to break the blockade. So my goal, if I was Prime Minister, would be to absolutely destroy this boat in as few missiles as possible. I wouldn't even fire a warning shot. I would just say, fire away! And if there were any passengers, you know, that ate it swimming in the ocean, I would throw them cinder blocks and drown them. Because this is an act of war trying to break a legal blockade. Alright, so more interesting news. The settlements where I live, are getting hotlines and call buttons. But the quote-unquote Palestinians that live in the area are also going to have access to this. So let me give you a breakdown of what the two calls are going to look like. Hey, this is Shlomi. Rocks are being thrown at me and Molotov cocktails. I need help now. Here's what the other side is going to look like. This is Mohammed. I've been throwing rocks and Molotov cocktails and I threw my shoulder out. I need help now. Why are we giving them access to our hotlines? Why are we giving them support, period? Of all the people on earth, I use that quote, people literally, in this case, why? We do everything for them in this country. We've built them roads, we've built them schools, we've built them everything. They don't pay taxes. They live like kings in this country. And it's pathetic. And who's to blame? Us, as usual. Not only do we do things, we let other countries that hate us build all their stuff. Speaking of other countries that hate us, France is concerned by the expansion of Jerusalem homes. The foreign ministry has just given Ramat Shlomo approval to add rooms to 2,000 homes, meaning not new buildings. They're allowing additions to already built homes. And this is something that, you know, makes me so happy, but it's pathetic that it does because we should be building thousands and thousands of homes, but we don't. So France, a country that hasn't been relevant in... Have they ever been relevant? I don't think so. France is concerned. France, we're concerned that this might be an obstacle to peace. And in final news, and disgusting news, before that, Israel is asking Vietnam to not side with the Palestinian Authority. Who cares about Vietnam? The only thing they're known for is, oh hey, you have a boyfriend from Vietnam? Alright, that's our show for today. It's not news unless it's Jews news. Everybody have a great, great day.